Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo. We're here at Sunset Gallery Studios and I'm delighted to be joined back with Rommel with his third film with us, Piedra Dura. Let's take a look at the clip.
Wanka?
Rommel, 3 films now.
Yes.
I'm so happy to see you back. You always mesmerize with your films. You always blow me away, and thank you so much for bringing this to New Filmmakers LA for Piedra Dura. For those that haven't seen it, tell us the brief synopsis.
Well, thank you so much for having me here again. It's always great to come back and visit. Piedra Dura is actually the very first film that I filmed in Bolivia. And the story is about this young, closeted gay altar boy who is caught doing inappropriate things at church. Mm-hmm. And he faces confusing, traumatizing consequences because of that.
Yeah.
It deals with topics that include emotional abuse, physical abuse, and the controversies behind the Catholic Church and their approach to LGBTQ plus communities.
It was such a great film. I watched it several times on my laptop until I watched it on the big screen, and it was mesmerizing last night to watch it at the Academy. This is a really important story on so many different levels, but it was also wonderfully acted and directed as well, which I'll get into. Where did the inspiration come for you, Rommel, in turning this idea into a film?
Well, for me, it was at first a little bit difficult choosing what story to tell as a first story in Bolivia, and I wanted to film it in my hometown as well. And I am a huge fan of reading articles, newspapers. I think I read more about news in Bolivia than I read them about here. In the US. It's just I connect with those stories more because I lived there for a longer time. And back in the day, I was reading a lot of unfortunate news about topics like this, where there were a lot of young queer people who didn't have a voice in terms of being physically or emotionally abused, not only at home, but also when looking for advice. And when going to church, it's still like a very traditional thing to do in Bolivia.
Yeah.
And you would see, priests and people, that are part of the Catholic Church as authorities, basically. People that you respect, that you can trust, that will give you advice. If you get kicked out from your house, then you can go to the church and you will get a lot of help. But unfortunately, sometimes you run into some unpleasant people and situations that can scar you for life. So I was reading a little bit of a trend about things happening like that in Bolivia, and I just read how common it was for a lot of closeted queer young people to go through those experiences and not have a voice, or not feel comfortable enough to talk about them. So I felt like, in a way, identified because I remember memories that myself I had blocked from when I was working at church, and I had also some unpleasant situations happen to me. And at first you feel like it's hard to believe when something traumatizing happens to you, or a self-defense mechanism can be to block it, and then it doesn't come back to you sometimes until years later, or months later. It depends, So to me, it felt like the right story to tell, because I knew that there were many people whose story was not being told, but also I felt connected to it. So it was very, like a personal yet universal story that I wanted to make it happen. And I also love the challenge
Yeah.
of making it happen, because
Yeah.
from a producing standpoint, I knew that it was not going to be easy.
No, not at all, not at all. I mean, firstly, thank you for just putting out a story like that. I also grew up in the church and also trying to discover sexuality and also traumatic experiences that happened to me when I was this boy's age, so definitely felt universal in that respect as well. And I just thought the way that you put it on camera was so special, because you kind of mixed in a lot of context of, like, you've got a young person who's feeling isolated, told by religion a certain way to be, and then discovering his own personal journey, and on top of that, people taking advantage of innocence, vulnerability, and discovery of their own selves, and how the hypocrisy that circulates around that as well. Is that kind of a join to that, some of the subjects that you wanted to sort of raise, to be like how hypocritical this is at the same time, right?
100%, I think, and I don't think everything is black and white in this world. There's also a gray area, and it would be easy to villainize certain institutions or people, but I wanted it to feel vulnerable.
Yeah,
and I didn't want it to come off as, this surface level kind of story. I wanted to go deep into his own personal struggles, and also how the process of taking advantage of a situation might be, but also as a person, how sometimes we can be, it can take us a longer time to pick up on things that are happening because of lack of experience, or there is a little bit of innocence that we have, and if these experiences force you to grow, and by no means does that mean that others should take advantage.
No, absolutely.
But life is there is a learning that comes from it, but also I think it's important to be able to talk about it.
Absolutely.
Because people, I feel, overcome traumas by facing them, by talking about them.
It felt I felt like I was in the room with them. It felt that personal, it was insane. But let's talk about your actors. Brilliantly acted. I couldn't even breathe. I was so captivated by their individual performances and what they were giving to the scene. How do you bring your cast together? Pre-production
was an international experience, let's say, because I'm based in LA. I have a producer in Bolivia. My producing partner, Simon Avila, is there, and I brought the script to him, and I told him that I wanted to make the story, and he helped do a lot of finding, the right crew for us, because I wanted to collaborate with all Bolivian filmmakers, at least for the production aspect of it, and including cast. We did a lot of Zoom, WhatsApp auditions. I got some tapes from many actors. In Bolivia, theater does very well. There are a lot of amazing, talented theater actors, and the actors that we ended up having, they also do a lot of theater as well. To me, what was important was to do chemistry reads with them, because once we found our top 2, top 3 for both characters, then we had some meetings where we had some, chemistry reads. All I wanted to see was how they get along. If I believe that these two people know each other, understand each other, that there is a relationship there, but also if there can be potential for more. So I asked them to, for example, let's make up a scene where you are both at a bar and you are asking the other person out. How would you do it, And we'll see how it feels, how awkward, how uncomfortable, how comfortable it feels. And the cast that we ended up being with, Ladislao, who is Juanca, and Bernardo, who is the priest, they just had the best chemistry, and they got along very well, right off the bat. And I honestly, genuinely loved how you directed this. There was obviously there was intimacy in other ways, but it was very intimate. It was, the way the camera was, it was like you were literally right there with them. Did you kind of know how you wanted to sort of direct this as well, style-wise? Yes, I actually usually when I write, I think about how I wanted to look. I think of frames, so I'm big of writing or drawing next to the script, you know, some little storyboards of the most important beats, at least that I want to have. There were specific moments like the confession, for example, where I wanted it to feel completely present, not cut much. So I just wanted to have like a single frame that would play for most of the scene. So I remember drawing that one. I wanted to also have moments where we would get a sense of what the world is. The church can be such a beautiful place to capture,
absolutely.
you know, and it has so much presence, and it can feel both overwhelming but also claustrophobic at times, and I wanted to capture that as well. So I'm huge on camera movements, so I could imagine a lot of like slow dolly moves or panning right and left. Of course, we have to adapt to what we are able to get, but yeah, I usually pre-visualize how I want some of the most important shots to have. But there were some scenes or moments where I didn't have much of an idea how to best film it until I blocked it with them. Like the dancing moment where I wasn't fully sure the best approach to filming it, but after we choreographed it, then it was easier to think about the best way to capture that.
Oh, amazing. And you know, it must have been very special shooting in your hometown as well.
It was beautiful.
Beautiful place. My goodness.
Thank you. Well, the place is called Tacos, the community, and it has, I think, less than 50 people living there, like a few families.
So tiny.
And they have their small church there, and that community is maybe 20 minutes away from my city, from my hometown, which is Sucre. It was just great getting the support from the people there, and even the priest that was in charge of that church. He gave us not only the church itself, but also the costumes. And a lot of the production design that you see inside, it was already there, you know. There was much more work to be done, but it was great to have that support, not only from him, but the community themselves, who were just willing to help us make the best story possible. Just asking for one tiny thing in exchange, which was to be part of the film as an extra, maybe.
Oh, yeah,
which we were happy to have them.
That's so fun as well. I love that. I was in the audience last night, and what I loved about listening after seeing the film, but hearing the reaction, like, it's like people, I don't think I've ever seen a film in a long time, people's reaction changed throughout the film. Like, there was like happy, sad, crazy, whoa, scared, what's going on? You know, there's a lot of reaction in your film, and it was so great to see. Certainly, this was a special program. It was celebrating Latinx storytellers with New Filmmakers LA in partnership with the Academy. What was it like having your film there last night, and how's the experience been with the audience?
I will say it was a dream come true, truly. The theater was absolutely beautiful. The festival itself, I said it yesterday in the Q&A, and I repeated, that audience was just amazing.
Amazing, right?
I think one of the most rewarding things that you can get as a filmmaker is to feel the honest, true reaction from a responsive audience. And at first I knew, I had an idea. The story is supposed to feel kind of funny, awkward, like quirky, and then the more you watch it, the more it turns to a different side. And just hearing people's laughter transition from fun to awkwardness to silence. That was quite a journey that I was personally not even expecting, you know. So it was truly rewarding.
There was myself and two other people I was with. We're all part of the LGBT plus community. I realized we all stopped breathing. Like we were like, like, you know what I mean? It was like, you know, you really took us on a journey, which was so. Well, you always do that, Rommel. You always is your way, but I love it. What is next? What's next?
Ooh, what's next? Well, earlier this year, I filmed another short. So my goal was to make a shorter short this time. And because Piedra Dura is 20 minutes, I love the length of it, but I wanted to challenge myself to do something even shorter, you know? So maybe I went a little too far, but what I ended up making was like a 6-minute short that is like a oneer, is one single shot. I it's called The Witnesses. I'll be submitting it to
Please,
NewFilmmakers LA very soon. But in terms of future projects, a few weeks ago I finished filming an independent TV pilot.
Wow.
It's actually a comedy, and it's the first time that I direct a full-on comedy, which was a great challenge, a contrast to the things that I'm used to making. I mean, I love magical realism, and there is comedy that comes with that. But I had never directed something that is like straight up comedy, so it was an amazing challenge. I'm excited about it. Actually, through NewFilmmakers LA, I was able to meet many executive producers a couple of years ago, and that's where I met these producing partners and investors, Gordon and Carmen Shea, and they have a production company. And they hired me to direct a pilot that they want to hopefully distribute it.
So
it's in post-production right now. I got the assembly cut, the first cut, a couple of days ago. I haven't watched it. So when I go home today, I'm gonna go watch it and start doing some more editing to it. And yeah, I'm excited to see what's gonna come from it, and just continue making more projects in the future. I do want to make I already have a story that I want it to be my first feature, and I want it to be in Bolivia. And hopefully we'll have that one in production in the next couple of years.
That's amazing. Yes. Well, I mean, I have loved seeing your journey from graduating to, you know, winning the Student Film Academy Award, to making more short films, and now this, you know, this pilot that's so great, and we're so proud of you. So well done, Rommel. I'm always excited to see your next films, but thank you very much for bringing your film to NewFilmmakers LA, and congratulations.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me. It's always a joy to come back here, and I'm beyond grateful with all the opportunities, the exposure, and the kindness that comes from the festival. So thank you so much.
Your family. Thank you very much, Rommel, everybody.